you truly want to be happy, then find what you have right now that can make you present and happy. It's about you being happy, but when you're happy, your son gets a happy father. Your daughter gets a happy father. Your wife gets a happy husband. If you're always worrying about something that you can't control, then you just become the miserable guy. You just become the guy that's always worried, always stressed, always miserable. You have to learn how to create your own happiness, searing into our brain that what we have right now is special and it will be gone. Our kids will be gone, our wife will be gone. So detach yourself from all these things that are causing you to worry so you can be the best person you can be. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Rising Father podcast. I'm Chris Rodack. Today, we're talking about how to be present, how to let go of worry, stress, anxiety, and focus on what you can control so you can be more present with your family. And this is a segment from one of our Brotherhood calls inside the Men of Fire program that I'm going to share with you. I talk for 20 or 25 minutes on this exact subject, share stories and strategies you can use today. Enjoy. I'm taking my son to Vegas for 4 nights. This has been a trip we've been planning for like 5 months now. The ADCC Jiu-Jitsu tournament. It's going to be tomorrow in Vegas, Friday through Sunday. And he's super into Jiu-Jitsu, and I want him to be inspired. So there's going to be a kids worldwide competition tomorrow, and then there's going to be the best Jiu-Jitsu practitioners in the world, Gordon Ryan, all the best Jiu-Jitsu people in the world are going to be in Vegas at this tournament over the weekend. So I'm taking him to go watch all of it, and we're going to hang out. He's been excited for this tournament and this trip with me for so long, since I brought it up to him. We're going to take ATVs out into Death Valley. We're going to drive around Friday morning and do that. That's going to be amazing. And this is just going to be a memory that we have for the rest of his life. And I wanted to, before he was gone, like we talk about all the time, in 8 years, he'll be 18, and maybe he'll move away. He'll go to college maybe. He'll live somewhere else. Then I'll have 40 years of me without him living with me like this. So this is the time I can make these memories. And if I can do it, I'm going to do it. It's an investment of money, time, sacrifice, but we can have this memory together. So it's what I'm going to do. And then I told Sarah, I said, you and Lauren should do something as well. So in October, my wife and Lauren are going to go to New York City, watch a Broadway show, just the two of them for 3 nights, go to the American Doll store, go shopping, walk around, and have like a girls' weekend, just my wife and my daughter. A lot of times we can get upset about things that are happening in our life, and they can make us unhappy. It can steal our presence from our family. It can make us worry about things that we don't have to worry about. A lot of the weekly check-ins, most weekly check-ins I've ever got this past yesterday, it's what I did pretty much the whole day is respond to these, which I loved, diving in with each of you. And a lot of the concerns and worries we have are worrying about something in the future, something in the past, and not being present right now. We're worrying about people we can't control, job situations we can't control, business situations we can't control. We're trying to control other people. We're trying to, we're saying, I can only be happy if my wife acts a certain way, or I can only be happy if this business thing happens, or I can only be happy if this thing happens 3-4 months ago. So your entire identity and happiness is tied to something that may or may not happen, this invisible force you've created in your own brain. And a lot of times we miss the happiness that is around us right now. The pure joy you can get from your family right now. Like I'm healthy, pretty much. I've got a wife, a son, and a daughter right now who are here with me. That alone makes me happy because I know there's a guy out there who just lost his family. There's a guy out there who just lost his wife. I know people personally who've lost children. One of my best friends, his kid, goes to our jiu-jitsu gym. His kid just got back home with him. He was in a coma for about a couple months. He had just had a heart transplant. He was in a hospital for about a year. And his son just this week, was able to finally move home out of the hospital. He has he has one leg, new heart. So imagine being that kid and laying there before you get the heart transplant, thinking the only thing I want in the world right now is a working heart. Like if there was one thing that would change my life and bring me pure joy and happiness, it would be a healthy, working heart right now. Guess what? We all have that. How about a leg? We just walk. If you're feeling down or worried about things that are out of your control, you can immediately make yourself more present and happy. Say, I'm grateful I have a leg. Because there are people like this kid who, the day before he had his leg amputated, he didn't know he was going to lose his leg. And then he found out that he was going to lose his leg. And when he found out he was going to lose his leg, the only thing in the world he wanted was one working leg. We have that. And then you think about the things that consume our thoughts with worry and stress and anxiety that we have no control over. Things that may or may not happen in the future. Like, I wish my wife was a little nicer to me. Or I wish these people would act a certain way. Or I wish my son would act a certain way. Or my daughter would act a certain way. You cannot control that. And that brings me into the first thing that I want to talk about is you cannot control anyone but yourself. And you are not here to control anyone else. You did not join this to fix your wife. You joined this to fix you. And by fixing you, you can potentially fix the relationship with your wife. But you can't fix your wife. You can't fix your son. You can't fix your business. The only thing you can do is fix you, and then better things will happen to you. Better results in life will be attracted to you by the man that you become. So you have to monitor the person you become while you worry about what you can't control. Someone in a weekly check-in was saying, I'm really worried about this business thing that might happen 4 months from now, and it's consuming my thoughts. Because of that, I missed my workouts. I couldn't do my macros and all these. They listed 10 things that they couldn't do because they were worried about something that may or may not happen 4 months from now. So if this person allows that to happen, who are they going to be 4 months from now? What if if this thing happens, it's great for them. So what if this thing doesn't happen? What if this thing that they're hinging their happiness upon does not happen? And for the 4 months leading up to that, all they've done is stress and worry about it. And through that time, they lost their discipline. They started drinking again. They gained weight. They stopped working out. They stopped watching what they're eating. So over these next 4 months, they become a person they despise. And then the worst thing happens. What's going to happen to that person? How are they going to handle rejection and failure? Do you think they're going to pivot and rise or crumble? What if that person doubles down on building himself and just going all in on who he is as a man? He crushes his routines. He crushes his wake-up times. He crushes this program. He does his workouts. He nails his macros. On his weekly check-ins, he says, I do 6 out of 7 days within 5 grams. I do 7 out of 7 days. 7 out of 7 wake-up times. Like I just crushed it. I'm reading. I'm journaling every single day. I'm time blocking. So over the next 4 months, he builds himself into just a savage. He's in the best shape of his life. He's more confident. He's speaking well. He's more enlightened and wise because he's filling his brain with positivity. The relationship with his kids and wife get better because who he is as a man is changing. Then what if the worst thing happens and this deal doesn't go through or whatever? Will he crumble and fail, or will he be able to pivot and find another opportunity because he's seeing the best and he's become somebody who can attract success? That one. Also, there's a third part to that. Over the next 4 months, if this man builds himself and becomes a better person, more reliable, becomes more influential, better speaker, more confident, someone that other people want to work with, what's the likelihood that a sales deal will go through? Is it better or worse, and he becomes negative and crushes himself with fear and doubt? Do you want to work with someone who's terrified, desperate, scared, undisciplined, letting themselves go? Or someone who's confidently detached, wants the best for you no matter whether the sale goes through or not, and is disciplined, building themselves? So whenever we think about something that may or may not happen, and we spend our days thinking about it and worrying about it, filling our heads with fear and doubt, you create the worst version of yourself possible, decrease the likelihood that the good thing you want to happen will happen. If you double down on the things that build you, then you become a person that attracts success. And then if the good or bad result happens, you handle it better anyway. So many times we will hear, blank situation is happening, it is chaotic. Because of that, I am going to stop blank. I'm going to stop the things that make life less chaotic. Chaos and fear and this crazy situation is coming. Because of that, I'm going to stop doing the things that make it less chaotic and fearful. I'm going to intentionally cripple myself because I'm just paralyzed with fear. And that was the word this guy used. He said, I'm paralyzed. That's what it does. When you consume yourself with something that may or may not happen, that fills you with fear, you paralyze yourself. You have to let it go. Let go the things that you cannot control. Your identity, your happiness is not tied to these external benchmarks, numbers. You have to find peace and joy within yourself. I was reading this meditation this morning, and it might sound morose and dark, but some of the sentences that you read to yourself are actually really freeing. It's a breathing meditation exercise. One of them is, I breathe in and I see everything I own and everything I value. I breathe out and I accept none of it belongs to me and it will all leave me. Okay? Another one is, I breathe in and I see everybody I love and cherish in my life, my wife, my kids. I breathe out and accept that they will all leave me. You're attached to none of them. You can't control any of them. I breathe in, I see myself aging. I breathe out, I understand I am a person who will age and get older. I will die. I will get sick. These things will happen. And when you can accept that part and you stop tying yourself to this need of perfectionism and expectations and certain things have to happen for me to be happy, it's very freeing. And you can make wiser, more skillful decisions and be present. This morning, like I said on the last call, it's beautiful weather here in Pittsburgh. It's sunny. It's in the 60s. I was sitting and for only a couple more days, my family will be at home with me during this time, and then I'll be by myself, and I'll be back at school. So I'm cherishing this time. So I'm outside on the patio, drinking coffee with my wife, talking and letting the kids play for only a couple more days, and then it'll be 9 more months, and I won't see them during this exact time. So it was sunny, it was beautiful weather, and I'm just sitting out there in the patio, and I did this meditation as I was watching them. And the meditation I did was, I'm going to die, and everyone in my family will be gone at some point. That's what I did as I was looking at my family. And as I did that, it made me more present in the moment. It made me cherish and value them right now, knowing that this isn't permanent. The life I have right now is not forever. My wife as she is, my kids as they are, this is not forever. I don't own any of them. I can't control any of them. My friend whose son had to get a heart transplant and leg amputated didn't know that the next day he would find out that information. Imagine, no one knows what's going to happen tomorrow. Every single person that died did not know the morning of that day that was going to happen. They all had plans for that evening. You do not know what's going to happen. And if you can detach yourself from the need to control these things, then you also detach yourself from the crippling and paralyzing worry, fear, and doubt that comes with that, of I have to control these things now. If I can't control the outcome, I can't be happy. If your sentence is, I can only be happy if blank, then you're crippling yourself. There should not be an end to that sentence. I can only be happy if this happens. Release yourself from that. What are the things that you're hinging everything on? And if you can get to the point where you can say, no, I can survive and be okay and be present with my family and with myself without hinging everything on this one thing happening and needing these things, then you're okay. You know, in a couple months, it's going to be cold, wet, disgusting here in Pittsburgh. The only thing I'm going to want is today. I'm telling you, in January, February, it is a nightmare up here. But during that time, there's like a 4-month stretch where it's just dark. And they call it seasonal depression disorder, whatever they call it. I don't know. I have it. I just need the sun. I've got these studio lights. I turn them on bright yellow so it looks like the sun. And I just blast it in my face to help me not be depressed and just be happy. Like, I need the sun. And man, it's so amazing today. Like, if I'm down today, why? This is happiness. The only way I can't be happy is if I decide to bring something into my life that makes me unhappy. If I decide to add worry to my life about something I can't control, I can decide to make myself unhappy. Because this thing that I can't control needs to happen. This person is doing something that's making me upset. This person that I have no business trying to control, me trying to control them, I can decide to be upset about that and make myself upset. So a good exercise is to ask yourself, if you were in the perfect situation right now, what is your ideal location? Is it on a beach in Mexico? Is it in the mountains by a lake? Perfect weather. If you were at the perfect location with the perfect weather, with the perfect people around you, would you be happy right now? Or is there something burning in your brain that's worrying you that you shouldn't be worrying about? Are you adding stress and anxiety, doubt and fear to your life that's unnecessary? And then, if you were in the worst situation possible, could you make yourself happy just by realizing what you already have? There are people in jobs they despise with toxic coworkers, toxic bosses, and if you're a business owner, you have none of that. No one controls you. You've got to pay your taxes, obey the laws. But there's when I was a teacher, I told this story. This is an embarrassing story. A teacher I used to work with, I did bus duty for a middle school, okay? Bus duty for middle school. Not the most respectable job you could do. So you go out there in front of the school, you're doing bus duty, and this other teacher, he was like 6'6", huge guy. The vice principal came out and spotted a drawing on one of the pillars outside the school. It was a penis made with a Sharpie by a middle school kid. So this vice principal was like 22 years old. They just hired her as a vice principal. So they said, okay, you're going to be everyone's boss. So she told this guy, who just towers over her, he's like in his mid-30s, she said to him, go stand in front of this penis so the kids can't see it. And I was there watching this thing happen. And he just hung his head, walked over, and stood in front of the penis. People are in jobs like that. Humiliated. Horrible situations. I was landscaping. I pushed wheelbarrows of mulch and manure for years. Man, nothing to complain about. Like, if you want to be happy, if you truly want to be happy, then find what you have right now that can make you present and happy. It's about you being happy, but when you're happy, your son gets a happy father. Your daughter gets a happy father. Your wife gets a happy husband. If you're always worrying about something that you can't control, then you just become the miserable guy. You just become the guy that's always worried, always stressed, always miserable. You have to learn how to create your own happiness. Look at your hands. Say, thank God I've got two hands. There's people who do not have hands. There's going to be a day when you get so old that the only thing you're going to want to do is to be able to take a walk outside. That's the only thing you're going to want to do. Just like, oh God, I wish I could just, like I could 30 years ago, just walk outside on a nice day and just walk for a couple miles. There's going to be a day in the future that's going to come when that is the only thing in the world you want to do. It's going to be hard. You're going to need someone's help to get out of bed, someone's help to get out of your chair. Right now, you can just get up and walk around. We get into these bubbles in our life where we look, or the situation we're in right now, we think this is how it's going to be forever. And then that's where midlife crises happen, and that's whenever your kid goes to graduation and all of a sudden it hits the unpresent father who's full of regret, and he says, oh my goodness, I've wasted the last 21 years not being present with my family. Well, how is my kid graduating already? Because he's not doing what we're doing right now, and searing into our brain that what we have right now is special and it will be gone. Our kids will be gone. Our wife will be gone. The only thing you take to your grave with you are the words, thoughts, and actions you've done. It's called karma. Everything you've thought, said, or done go to the grave with you. Everything else you leave. So detach yourself from all these things that are causing you worry so you can be the best person you can be. So you can have the right thoughts, words, and actions. That's where the inner joy comes from. That's where the inner fulfillment and happiness comes from, is from the thoughts, words, and actions of you. It's not the things you get. It's not the things you buy. If your happiness depends on these things that may or may not happen, you're tying all of your value into something that can be gone in an instant. It must be what comes from the inside of you. What did I do today? Who am I today? Not what did I do yesterday. So that can propel you forward today. It can give you energy for today. It can also heal you from yesterday. Because if yesterday you failed, say on your weekly check-in you said, lots of people blew it out of the park and just were down 3-4 pounds and did every single thing. But also some people, did nothing and were very upset about it and regretful about it. And they said, man, I screwed up this week, but this next week I'm at it. So use the same philosophy to pivot and be forgetful of the past. Because if you're worried about what happened before and what might happen, then you can't be present right now. This is the only time you're living, is this moment, right now. Forget about yesterday. What you do right now and today is who you are. The thoughts you're thinking, the words you speak to your family, the actions you're going to take today. That is where your joy can come from. If you blow it out of the park as a husband and father today, but waste it because you're worried about some deal closing a month from now, then you've missed the best part of your life. If your son comes up to you to have a one-on-one talk and you're unpresent because you're worried about your wife saying something to you last week, you missed your opportunity to be a present father right now because of something that you can't control. I had an opportunity to throw cold water on the relationship with my son this morning, but I didn't. And I'm going to bring this up because this is an everyday situation that many people, a small everyday situation that many of us will go through and have gone through. So, like I said, tomorrow we're going to Vegas, and he's so damn excited about it. So I was sitting outside, I was reading, I was journaling after I worked out, and Nathan comes outside, and I look up at the hill, and we're getting our over the next year, we're redoing our backyard and getting a patio in. So went to Costco, bought some new furniture for the patio, and last night after I went to sleep, because I'm dialing in my sleep routine, I was asleep by 9:15 last night. Big win for me. Apparently after that, my son and daughter took our new chairs up to our steep grassy hillside and were turning them upside down and making forts out of them. And as I was sitting on my patio looking up, I was thinking, nothing I'm ever going to buy can ever last. Like, why do I buy anything good ever? Like, can I buy one thing that will not get destroyed and misused? Like, that's what I was thinking. And I could hear my son coming outside, and I was starting to replay in my head the words I was going to say to him about the furniture. Like, what did you guys do last night? Why did you leave the chairs out? You can't. And I looked over, and he had a big smile on his face. I was having cereal. So he was having a bowl of cereal. He was coming outside to sit next to me and eat cereal together. So I forgot everything I was going to say, left it. I just smiled, patted the seat next to me. He came, sat down next to me, and we just talked about our Vegas trip. Didn't mention the furniture. I'll bring it up later today in a calm, nice way. I'll say, hey, can we go move this furniture, make sure you put it back in place? The only thing he wanted at that moment was he was so excited to spend time with his father and to sit next to him and connect on the couch. I had the opportunity to ruin that moment, right? To teach him a lesson about the furniture. But what's the greater lesson? What's the 100-year from now view? It's not put furniture where it goes. It's have a loving relationship with your son and father. So that took precedent. But we will go through these situations every single day.